Hey guys, this is John. I'm playing Pomberito in the 5-minute pool on ICC. Let's play a Caro-Kann against Pomberito. He's 2135. Ooh, this line. Okay, so in this line, he can play like a pan-out Bopanic variation with d4, or he can do this. Queen takes d5 is a slight mistake for black, so I'm going to avoid that. You're supposed to recapture with the knight, so that's the option I'm keeping open by playing knight f6 on move 4. I'm a little ignorant of the theory in this line, not going to lie. But that hasn't stopped me before. So I wonder if he'll crank up the pressure on c6 with moves like knight e5 or whatnot. And I'm not too concerned if he takes on c6 because, yes, I get isolated pawns, but other than that, I think my position is pretty good. So he is attacking this knight twice. Bishop d7 makes the most sense, but does that leave us vulnerable at all? If he takes with the bishop, I can take with my pawn, and his knight on e5 is nice, but perhaps he doesn't have much more than that. So let's just do bishop d7. It's the most coherent way to defend the knight, I think. Okay, and he takes. Now pawn takes or bishop takes. Tough call. You know, I'm going to take with the pawn. I know that locks in my bishop entirely, but he loses a tempo with this bishop now. And I don't know, it might make the game more dynamic. Let's put the bishop on e7. d6 looks like a better square, but I would be in range of his knight with knight e4, so that's why I'm choosing e7. If after he castles, maybe rook b8 is useful to target the b2 pawn. I could look to play c5 sometime in the near future just to try to offload my backward c-pawn. This setup is generally pretty solid for black, though, having a pawn on c6 reinforcing the knight. I don't at all feel uncomfortable here. Queen b6 looks good. Just also taking the d4 pawn under observation, in addition to looking at b2. I still might play c5. I haven't ruled that out. Rook fd8. Knight f6 is probably decent. So if knight f6, knight takes, bishop takes, we're hitting this pawn a couple times. I like the look of that. Let's do it. We do withdraw that strong knight. I don't think he was planning on taking the knight with his last move, but okay, we get him to retreat at least. Let's play... He might go bishop f4 with tempo on this b8 rook. So let's play rook b d8 for that reason. Bishop d6 was probably also not bad. We'll go with rook b d8. Trying to discourage a bishop move. Okay, he actually does play a bishop move. So if I take on b2, am I going to get punished somehow? Take b2, knight a4, queen a3. I don't see a trap of my queen. He'll probably have a little compensation, but I can't resist grabbing these pawns, so I'm going to do it. I'm a sucker for those pawn grabs. Okay, queen d3, so defending the knight. I can play queen a3. There's no problem with that move. c5 also. Now, I probably should play queen a3 first. And my queen is defended by the bishop, so he can't do any fancy like knight d5 discoveries, hoping to like get in a capture on e7 or something as an in-between move. Because if knight d5, I can just take it, and my queen is guarded. Okay, so rook b1, looking to come down the file maybe. Knight d5 is probably decent. What else? Rook b8 I could play, just to contest the file. Looks pretty good. Rook b8, bishop f4. Take b1, he takes, and we've kind of given him the file. I'd like to play c5 too. I kind of like the look of that. c5, pawn takes, bishop takes. What's going on there? Looks all right. Let's do it. Maybe he can play d5? Oh, you know what? That was a really bad move. Well, actually, it might be okay. I was going to say he might have had knight d5 because I just interrupted my queen and bishop defense there, but I could take on d4. So that's funny. I nearly fell for the tactic that I was just describing like a move ago. Go figure, right? I don't know about rook b3, though, because now my queen is secure on a5, I think. He can't go to b5 with his rook because of my bishop. Meanwhile, I'm just trying to trade off my weak c-pawn for his d-pawn. Rook b7. Okay, let's just take. Is he going to take with the bishop? If bishop takes maybe e5, he's hitting a7 twice. I see your point. I see it. E5, rook takes. Yeah, I don't like the look of that. Reason why I want to play e5 is to unleash my rook against his queen. Maybe bishop c5 is just much safer right now. Let's do that. Defending the a7 pawn. Let's get ready for this swap. Takes on f6. Okay. Yeah, I have to. Oh. Okay, I'm not losing a piece because c3 is weak too, so you can't just take on d7 twice. This is getting messy now, though. I'm not sure I like this. Knight e4. Knight e4 could be good. Oh boy. Knight e4. How do I avoid losing? Knight e4, bishop c6, knight takes f6, king g7. Missing a lot of stuff this game. I'm going to do that line. Looks messy, but I'm going to go for it. I mean, he could take on f6 clean right now, but king g7. Note I can't play king h8 because the queen takes h7 mate. But this is sketchy, folks. This is... I'm flying by the seat of my pants here. c5 was a definite mistake on move 18. Flustered me a little bit, but
Check.
We'll see what happens. Okay, got to play this move now. So if he checks g3, I take his knight. My king might go for a walk. Like queen h4? I don't think I can seriously play king e5, so probably king back to g7. Maybe we're looking at some kind of perpetual. Probably. So like queen g3, king takes f6, queen h4 check. King g7, queen g5 check. King h8, queen f6, king g8. It doesn't look to me like he can play for a win there. He is down a bishop. And his queen is the only piece truly attacking. Ooh, maybe he has bishop takes e6 then. That would be brutal. Maybe on queen g3, king takes f6, queen h4 check, I should play king g6 instead. Because I have the d3 square guarded. Like rook takes d3 if he moves his bishop there. And bishop takes e6 could still be bad for me.
Check.
Wow, he's going to go for it this way. Oh, queen h6 he has. I can't go to
Check.
e7. Oh boy, my king's going for a walk. King f5. King f5, rook takes f7. Then take on e6. What in the world? Okay, if king e5, bishop e4. And I'm not dead yet. Although that's got to be mate in a couple. Queen g5, f5, queen g7. Yeah, rook f6, maybe. Okay, I'm going to try it. I'm going to hope that he doesn't find mate. This pawn is pinned, so that is nice that he can't play f4 or whatever. He's just choosing a practical move. Threatening queen f4 mate. I probably have to take that.
Check.
Oh, queen takes e6. Let's run. Let's run. I have my king on d4. Rook d1. Okay. Maybe queen d2 now. Queen d2. Okay. Just trying to anticipate rook d1. My king might make an appearance on c3 soon. Oh, queen f6. Queen f6 I can take c4, and my queen defends the rook. That's one other nice tactical point. That's probably a good move right there. He's threatening queen c4 and rook d1. Gotta move, gotta move. Bishop d5 doesn't really work too well. Man.
Time warning.
Yep. Okay, let's go here. I mean, he has queen e6, though. I just didn't see him move. Yeah, I think I'm mated soon. Check. Or at the very least, he can just take this bishop. Queen takes c6
Check.
is good enough. Don't know that he has to play for a win this way. Okay, I'm just going to come back. h4? It's like, where's the checkmate?
Check.
Where's the checkmate? Yeah. Okay, let's come here. Threatening maybe bishop takes f2. I'm just trying something.
Check. Check.
This would be pretty much a travesty if I won this game,
Check.
but it's looking like he's not going to make it in time. Yeah. All right. Ridiculous ending. I had no business winning that game, especially once my king starts taking a walk, but that's Blitz for you. Okay, let's go back and have a look. So this c4 move doesn't get played often against the Caro, but I think it's pretty reasonable. Sometimes I run into it via c4 on move 1, the English, and then c6, then e4. So black plays d5. We get this trade. Now, if they wanted to enter the Panop-Bottenic variation, they could play d4. But instead, he takes on d5. And as I mentioned, queen takes d5 is kind of a mistake because after knight c3, black loses some time with the queen. So it's considered better to play knight f6. Now, white can try to disrupt black's development here with a move like bishop b5 check, trying to force black to occupy the d7
Check.
square. And like in the event of bishop d7, pulling the bishop back here and guarding this pawn. But my opponent just played knight c3. I took. Yeah, I don't know the theory, but I suspect the position I got out of the opening is fine. Even taking with the pawn on c6 rather than the bishop. I think all this is good. Let me just add the engine right around here. Yeah, thinks black is doing absolutely fine. It prefers black's position quite a bit already. So f5 is the principal suggestion. Not a move I thought about whatsoever. If knight g5, bishop takes. I was thinking grab on b2, but I guess this. Yeah, this is a very computer-like continuation. Very few humans would play like that, f5. So I just dropped the knight back to f6. I don't know about that move. Maybe I should just play a rook to d8, something like that. Looks pretty good. The rook's going to be useful on the d file when lines start clearing. And like I said, he's not really playing bishop c4 to take my knight on d5, so I don't know why I felt the need to move it. I guess I just wanted to trade e4. But nevertheless, knight f6. He brought the knight back. Yeah, bishop g5 could be played because there is this pin going on the bishop on e7. And here, the engine suggests c5 just offloading the pawn. But I played rook d8. Looks okay. Yeah, and then grab this pawn. I just didn't think he quite had enough compensation. Yeah, and here I was discussing how knight d5 is not a concern. Like when you have a queen that's in your opponent's half of the board, and I'm trying to like generalize this, but this sometimes happens in like the Sicilian Dragon, where black has a queen on a5 and white has a queen on d2, and there's a white knight on c3. White can sometimes play knight d5, and after queen takes d2, assuming it's not with check, white can go knight takes e7 check. Unless you're familiar with that opening, you'll have no idea what I'm talking about. But basically, I have to watch out for knight discoveries because the queens are opposing each other. As it happens here, though, I can just take and my queen is defended. But no sooner had I said that I played c5, which is kind of an egregious mistake given what I had just talked about. And he had the option of knight d5 because I just disrupted the coordination between my queen and bishop. Now I can't take the knight because I lose the queen, so I would have had to take here, but it's not something I had calculated. Instead, though, he played after c5, rook b3, queen a5, rook b7. That looks like a good move. I took d4, bishop takes, and I was kind of oblivious to the fact that he might be threatening to take. What did I do here? Yeah, bishop c5. That's an awful move. I mean, I guess for the moment, he's not threatening to take on f6, because then I take back with my bishop. Like, let's just say black passes, and for some reason white decides to do this. He doesn't win a piece because I take c3 at the end of this variation. However, he is threatening that pawn on a7, so that's what encouraged me to play this bishop c5 move to try to block that, but that just allows bishop takes f6, so I should have gone here. I should have evacuated my queen to the edge of the board, okay? And then if rook takes a7, bishop d6, and I can start an attack against his king. The computer claims an advantage, but it's messy. But after bishop c5, bishop takes f6, I'm pretty sure I'm close to losing. And he played this well. Knight e4 is a good move. Again, he doesn't want to take on d7 right away because after the swap, he loses that c3 knight. So he tries to get the knight off of c3 with tempo, hitting my pawn and my bishop, and also just mainly threatening rook takes d7. So I rolled the dice and did this. Computer thinks that this is the best move, but that just straight up loses a piece, doesn't it? Yeah. So here,
Check.
take king g7.
Check.
And it looks like he played this correctly. I was thinking maybe queen g3 would be played, but this has got to be even better. Because after queen h6, I can't go to e7 because of his rook. So my king has to go into the great wide open, to quote Tom Petty. So king e5, if king f5, yeah, I thought this might be good. And then he can go and just swipe e6, and it seems like there should be checkmate. h4, if I take, what happens? Queen h6 is going to be mate soon.
Check.
Here, just following the engine line. Rook f5, queen g6, king h4.
Check.
Okay, yeah, something like this.
Checkmate.
So I chose e5 instead, trying to stay off of a light square. It is nice that rook e1 cannot be played. Did I notice that during the game, that rook e1 runs into queen takes e1 mate? I'm not sure I noticed that. And it's also nice that f4 cannot be played because he's pinned. But all the same, yeah, he should be winning in multiple ways. Rook takes f7 is not a bad choice. Queen g7, yeah, I was afraid of this move as well, because that just stops me from even playing king d4, crossing the d-file threshold. It must be winning soon. King f5, rook takes f7. This is like the game, except even better for him. So he did this.
Check.
Good idea. Wins a couple pawns. He takes here. Rook d1 could be played. Yeah, I was going to play king c3 because that's forced. Queen e1. And I saw that after this, he could not take my queen because of this. But rook c1 appears to win. Oh, and rook takes c5. Brutal. And then after king takes c5, queen takes a5, and he's going to win the rook too. It's a fork. I never have time to back rank him. Fork with check. So all the tactics align for white. So instead, he just took on f7. It's still really tough. I mean, he has 3 pawns for the piece, and my king is just getting scorched. Queen d2. Bishop b3 was an exceptional move. Good idea. Preparing queen c4 and also threatening rook d1. So it's an unusual double attack. Yeah, and I'm sure I'm just losing now, but I didn't see any way to save the game. It's just, I think his mistake is he just took too long trying to find a mating net, per se. I think he should have just grabbed on c6 a little sooner and then just started making moves. But it's difficult. I mean, you never know. Like I play a lot of bullet, obviously, so I would have no qualms about, let's say, around about here, just being practical and trying to play for a flag if I'm white. But I know a lot of people are just going to be out of inertia looking for that mating net. Maybe myself included. I don't know what I would have done in white's shoes. But suffice it to say that a black victory should never occur here. The clock is the only saving grace. So pretty good king hunt by Pomberito. That marks the second Blitz game in a row that my king has had to take a walk. So got to be careful about that. Anyways, hope you guys are having a good weekend, and I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.